Welcome everyone, and before we get started today, we've received a few text messages and emails saying that the sound is not very loud. It's hard to hear, so I'm not really sure why that is. I'm going to try to speak up. If I sound like I'm yelling, I'm not. I'm just trying to speak up a little bit louder than I usually do. Now, most of you who've been following us for a while know that we tend to do most of our videos on barbering and cosmetology for the simple reason that most students in school are barbers or cosmetologists. But in the last few months, we've gotten a lot of calls, texts, emails from students who are nail technicians or manicurists, depending what you want to call it, depending what state you're in. They're having a lot of trouble passing their test. And we've done a lot of research in the last few months in our office. And here's what we come up with. The national pass rate so far this year is hovering right around 60%, which is a really nice way of saying almost half the room fails every day. Right? 60% pass, 40% fail. That's just slightly more than half passing the test. Now the interesting thing is if you compare that to last year's statistics, last year the pass rate was 80% pass, 20% fail. That means the failure rate has doubled this year since last year. Now, there's no new laws. Science didn't discover new bacteria. There's no new kind of fancy nail enhancements suddenly came out. Nothing has really changed except the test itself. And the test is getting increasingly difficult. Now, you could ask yourself why it's getting increasingly difficult, why the state is failing twice as many students this year as last year. When you think about, there's about 40,000 nail technicians who take the test every single year. When you fail 40% of 40,000 people, that's 16,000 people. Those people will take the test at least twice, maybe 3 or 4 times. All of a sudden, you're talking about literally millions of dollars going to the state board and the testing companies. For example, PSI, Pearson VUE, and a few others. You're talking about millions of dollars. There's no other explanation for how the test suddenly became so much more difficult. Your test today is a lot tougher than your friend's test was last year, or your mom's, or your sister's, or your dad's was 2 years ago or 5 years ago. It is a much more difficult test. Now, you have a few options. You can complain to your teacher, or your school director, or your school owner, or even your state board. They don't care. They know what I'm saying, and if they don't know what I'm saying, they should all lose their jobs. Okay? Of course they know what I'm saying. And what are they doing about it? Obviously nothing, because if they were doing something about it, you wouldn't have this serious decline in pass rates. So your teacher either doesn't know or doesn't care, and I'm not sure which is a bigger problem. Likewise for your school directors and school owners. We know why your state board is doing it. It's called money. We know why the testing companies like PSI and Pearson VUE are on board with it. It's called money. A very famous man, now deceased, said one time, if you want to know the answer to any question, follow the money. Now, as I said, you have several options here. You can waste your time complaining to school teachers, directors, owners, the state board. You'll get nowhere. Or you can take your career into your own hands. You can get the actual questions and answers on the exam right now, not last year, 5 years ago, 25 years ago. The questions and answers on the test right now. And it's very simple. It looks like this book. Okay? I'm going to hold this up for a couple of minutes. You can get this book by giving us a call, 760-534-4434. We also have this book in Spanish. Same phone number, 760-534-4434, and someone can speak to you in Spanish. This book has about 1,000 questions. This is every question in the State Board's bank of questions. They're going to pull out your test, depending upon what state you're in. It could be as little as 60 questions, could be as many as 110. It doesn't make any difference. We have them all. Visit us online at www.cosmetologystateboardexam.com. It's a little long, but it's not that complicated. www.cosmetologystateboardexam.com. Give us a call, 760-534-4434. Take the test into your own hands and don't be in the 40% that's now failing every single day. Be in the 60% that passes and get on with your career. Give us a call.